Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is before the Sabbath, before Shabbat, Kiryat Arba. Well, we are moving towards Yom Kippur, and we had an interesting, um, I would say, a very interesting thing that happened to us on Rosh Hashanah. The Arabs suddenly decided to open fire on my neighborhood at about 4:20 in the morning. Their machine gun rounds were ricocheting through the entire area. Sound like a battle zone. They ceased 5 minutes before the the Mizgad started praising God, Allah, and they never did it again until now. So, in other words, we're still waiting to see what the final outcome is going to be. We don't know why. We don't know why they did it at the same precise moment and why they stopped at the same precise moment. So that was how our new year entered. Now it's almost Shabbat, and we have on Wednesday night the beginning of the probably most important day of the year, Yom Kippur. That's the day that our fate is sealed. All wishes aside, our fate will be sealed on that day, and together with the fate of the world. And as I mentioned, the countries of the world will have their fate sealed for another year. Right now, it doesn't look like we're doing so good. Right now, it looks a lot like we're running out of time. So much to do and so much incompetence preventing us from doing the right thing. Doing the right thing is an interesting sort of a phrase. What is the right thing? For who and for why and for what time? We can discuss that and argue with that, well, until the cows come home. I remember I had the cows coming home in my farm back in Wisconsin. Usually came back in the evening. But I don't believe this is going to happen with the political situation in the United States and in Israel and the rest of the world. This is change. Incompetence has brought about change. And change, in turn, will bring about living in interesting times, which, as I've said before, is an ancient Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times. Well, I'd rather be happy, prosperous, and bored. But unless we do some very serious changes, that's not going to happen. We stand at the crossroads right now of history. We stand at the moment of judgment. America, the United States of America, not Canada or Mexico, has lost all credibility as being a force for good. Not that the people don't want goodness and decency, but the leadership will not allow that to happen. This year will be a fateful year for America. If I were to make a prognosis, I would say massive flooding, massive hurricane damage, earthquakes, and probably failure of communication throughout the country or throughout the international failure due to a massive sunspot that's ready to happen each day. When it hits, of course, that means that there'll be no internet and there'll be no communications. If you happen to be in a plane when it hits, you'll probably crash and die. As I said, Yom Kippur will sign us who will live, who will die, who will prosper, and who will be bankrupt. And we have 5 more days or so until Yom Kippur. And this day, I would ask you not only to celebrate Shabbat as you can, praise God as you will, but also some serious reflection on we as individuals and we as nations, inhabitants of this globe. We cannot turn to our scientists to help us. We cannot turn to our military to help us. We cannot turn to our leadership to help us because it's not in their hands any more than it's in your hands. There's only one place we can turn, and that's to the creator of the universe. If we turn with sincerity, love in our hearts, and a desire to do well, I'm sure that he'll sign us over for another year. But we have 5 days to make up our minds. Will we say, Slecha, I'm sorry, I want to do better? Or will we continue like they did in Sodom and Gomorrah and say, I'm okay, Jack. Don't need help from anybody. Well, I'm wishing you all Shabbat Shalom, Gamar Chatima Tova, and take some time to reflect. So long for now from Israel.